There was a point not long ago where I noticed something that genuinely unsettled me. I'd been spending more time behind a desk than usual, building the business, more screen time, more sitting, the kind of work that keeps you in one place for hours without realizing it. And one day I stood up and I felt it. This stiffness, this tightness, this quiet sense that my body had started adapting to the chair without asking my permission. So I was like, hell no, you ain't gonna do this to me. For most people, that's just Tuesday. That's just life. That is just what happens. But I know what a body feels like when it's moving the way that it is supposed to. And this wasn't that. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I removed every single chair from my life for 30 days. No couch, no office chair, no stool at the bench. If I wanted to sit, I went to the ground and I stayed there. My friends thought I'd lost the plot. Maybe I had. But what happened over those 30 days didn't just change the way I move. It changed what I believe about how we live. Here is what this episode is really about. We didn't lose our mobility to age. We didn't lose it to injury. We gave it away, slowly, comfortably, one chair at a time, and we called it progress. And the thing that took it from us is the thing you're probably sitting on right now. I'm not going to tell you the chair is evil. That's lazy. The chair is one of the most useful objects ever made, but we adopted it completely. We built an entire civilization on top of it, and we never once asked what it was costing us. This is me adding it up. 30 days, no chairs. What I lost, what I got back, and why the way you spend the 23 hours outside the gym matters more than the 1 hour inside of it. Let me give you the context that makes the rest of this land. Your body is not a fixed object. It is a system that adapts to whatever you ask of it. Ask a lot, it gives you a lot. Ask nothing, it gives you nothing back, and it takes away what you're not using. And that's not your body being weak, that's your body being efficient. Your body is brilliant at not wasting resources and capacities that you've stopped demanding. Why should it? Now look at what we actually demand of it. We sit in chairs that hold us up so we don't have to hold ourselves up. We drive instead of walk. We take the elevator instead of the stairs. We've engineered physical demand almost completely out of the daily life. And we did it so gradually that nobody noticed the bill. The chair is the center of all of it. It holds you in one shape, your hips bent, your knees bent, your ankles bent 90 degrees across the board for hours on end. Your muscles switch off, your joints stop moving, your hips quietly shorten, your glutes quietly forget their job, your ankles stiffen, and your body, being efficient, prunes everything that you're not using. So you get very, very good at sitting. And you lose the ability to do almost everything else. And then you wonder what happened. Then you look a little bit shocked when you can't squat. That's what had happened to me. Not because I was lazy. I trained every single day. But I trained for 1 hour and then I sat for the rest of it. And my body didn't adapt to the hour. It adapted to the sitting. The day I stood up and I felt the stiffness was just the moment that the bill finally came. And I had no idea how long it had been building. I want you to do something while you listen. Think about the last time you sat on the floor. Not to stretch, not to do an exercise, not because you dropped something. Just sat there comfortably, the way you would sit in a chair. Most of you can't remember. It's been years. For some of you, it's been decades. And in those years, things have been leaving your body without you noticing. For example, the deep squat that you had as a toddler, gone. Every child on earth can do it. Heels flat, chest up, butt down, hips below the knees, completely relaxed. And it's not a skill they learn. It's a position they're born into. And somewhere between then and now, you lost it. And it wasn't to age. You stopped going down there, and that's why you lost it. Sitting cross-legged for more than a few minutes without your back screaming, gone for most people. The hip rotation, the ankle range, the spinal control that position needs, all of it eroded quietly because a chair made it optional. Getting up off the floor without using your hands, gone for most people over 40. And that last one matters more than it sounds. There is a test called the sitting rising test. You lower to the floor and you stand back up, scored on how much support you need. People who score badly on it are significantly more likely to die within the next several years. Not because the test kills anyone, but because the ability to get off the floor is a window into everything. Your strength, your balance, your coordination, your independence. When that's going, a lot is already going. And these aren't elite skills. There's no genetics gate on them. Every one of these is a basic human position you owned as a child and handed over to a chair as an adult. And the worst part is that almost nobody knows they've handed it over. They just decide that their body doesn't do that anymore. They call it age, they call it normal, and it's not normal, it is common. Those are completely different words, and the gap between them is where most people lose their later decades. Here's what makes it undeniable for me. I've spent a lot of time in Southeast Asian countries, Bali, Eastern Europe, and there is something you see the second you pay attention, something most tourists walk straight past. Hardly anybody is in a chair. Not because chairs don't exist there, not because they can't afford them. The floor is just where life happens. People cook there, people eat there, work there, rest there, talk for hours there. Grandmothers sit on the ground with no cushion, no back support, none of the ergonomic gear that we have convinced ourselves we need just to exist comfortably. And these people on the floor, 8, 10, 12 hours a day, they're not broken, they don't suffer from mobility issues, they're not in chronic pain. They're not booking physios, chiros, and massages just to manage how they live. They look strong and resilient and robust. They move freely at ages where most of us in the West have already started shutting down. There was this woman I met in Bali who was easily in her 70s. She was cooking over an open fire. I saw her squatting down to tend to it, shift from knee to knee, stand up, drop back down. There was no groaning, no hand on the knees, no thought about it. Just moving through positions that most 40-year-olds here can't even get into. And it hit me then. That's not exceptional. That's just what a body looks like when nobody ever told it to stop being a body. The difference between her and the average Western adult isn't genetics, it isn't age, it's the floor. She's lived on it her whole life and her body never had a reason to forget. We forgot because we built a world that made forgetting effortless. We put a chair under everyone and called it comfort. We lifted ourselves off the ground and called it civilization. And we never saw the invoice. And that's what I carried into day one. I had no protocol, no agenda, no goals, just the understanding that I'd drifted and the decision to walk it back. So the first week of my no chair rule was a bit brutal. My ankles were so tight I couldn't sink into a squat without my heels popping off the floor. Cross-legged, I'd start rounding and aching inside a few minutes. Getting down took planning. Getting up, I was pushing off my own knees with a hand like someone twice my age. Now, here's the one thing I need you to understand because almost everyone gets this wrong. That discomfort wasn't injury, it wasn't damage, it was unfamiliarity. Your nervous system runs a constant background question on every position you're in. Am I safe here? Do I have the strength and the control to be here? Do I know the way out if something goes wrong? But when you've sat in a chair for years, the answer is instant. It knows the shape cold, so it relaxes. But the deep squat, the cross-legged sit, the floor, it hasn't been there in years. It has no map. And when there's no map, it doesn't relax. It protects, it tightens everything up and floods you with the urge to get out. And that is only because something is unknown. And that's the whole game. The discomfort isn't a wall, it's a blank map. And the only way to fill it is to stay long enough to prove the position is safe. And here's the thing about building that map. You cannot rush it. You can't stretch your way there in one session or foam roll your way there in a week. The nervous system doesn't respond to intensity. It responds to repetition, to showing up in the same place over and over until it stops treating that place as a threat and start treating it as home. So I stayed there for as long as I could. And the first thing I noticed wasn't strength or flexibility. It was that I couldn't stop moving. You sit on the floor and your body will not hold still. Cross-legged, one knee up, into a squat, onto the knees, legs long, back to a squat, always hunting the next position. And it annoyed me for about 2 days. Then I understood it. The hunting is the point. A chair locks you in one shape for hours. The floor never let me stop. That constant, low, unconscious shifting is exactly what joints are built for. That's the circulation, that's the lubrication. That is a body doing what it's supposed to do when you're not trapping it into a single position. And by week 2, I stopped explaining it to myself and I just started watching it happen. The cushion I'd been propping myself up with, gone. I could sit through a whole meal cross-legged and never think about my back. The squat I used to drop into and immediately want out of, I started resting in it. I wasn't holding it like a drill, counting the seconds down. I was just being there, reaching for my cup from there, scrolling from there, talking to someone from there, like it was the most obvious chair in the room. And then the moment that told me it was actually working. I caught myself doing it without deciding to. I dropped into a squat to grab something off the floor. And I just stayed there so comfortable finishing a conversation. A week before, that exact position was pain. Now it was where I rested. Same body, 7 days apart. And that's the thing about the nervous system. It's not slow. Give it the same honest input every day. Prove the position safe over and over, and it rewrites it fast. The body doesn't need months. It needs daily. You can't stretch your way into a squat. You can't foam roll your way in. You can't get there one mobility class a week. You get there by being there every day until your body stops filing it under threat and starts filing it under home. In about week 3 is where it stopped being about my hips. My sleep had begun to change. And this is the part that surprised me the most. I wasn't training more. I hadn't touched my food, my schedule, my caffeine, anything. The only thing different in my entire life was that the chair was gone, and I was sleeping deeper than I had in years. It took me a few days to work out why. Then it was obvious. I was getting down to the floor and back up 20, 30, 40 times a day. Down to sit, up to do something, back down. Every one of those was my hips, knees, and ankles moving through their full range, and I never once called it exercise. By the end of an ordinary day, doing nothing I'd label a workout, I'd moved more than I used to move in a dedicated training session. Not harder, but more often, spread across the whole day instead of crammed into an hour. And my body answered that drip of constant, easy movement by actually shutting down properly at night. Deeper sleep, less stiffness in the morning. The mornings where I used to feel like I had to crack myself back into a working human, they just stopped. That's when the real lesson landed for me, and it's bigger than mobility. I hadn't started a flexibility program. I had changed the architecture of my entire day, and the day was doing more for me than the workout ever had. This is the thing that the industry will never sell you because you can't box it up. The most powerful training you will ever do isn't the hour in the gym. It is the other 23. The positions you rest in, the way you get up and down, the amount of plain physical demand left in a life that's been engineered for comfort. We were sold health as a window, your session, your hour, your block, and everything outside is just life. Just the gap between the workouts. But the body doesn't work in windows. It works in totals. It's adding up everything every day. And if the demand outside your hour is 0, that's what it adapts to. Not the 1 hour you trained, the 23 you didn't. So the floor didn't change my training. It changed my 23 hours. By day 30, getting to the floor and back was nothing. No hands, no pushing off the knees, no groaning, no thought. The thing that had quietly started tightening up on me, the thing I'd noticed standing up from my desk that day, had completely disappeared. Not managed, but gone. But the change that mattered most wasn't in my hips, it was in my understanding. For the first time, I felt in my own body exactly how much I'd given away just by living a normal, comfortable, seated life. There was no injury, no event, no drama, just years of chairs taking range off me little at a time while I looked the other way. And I understood the way back isn't complicated. It's not a program. It's not a system you buy. It's time on the ground every day, down and up, paying that small movement tax over and over until your body stops treating the floor as foreign. And the honest reason I can sit on the floor for hours today, no pain, no discomfort, is that I never really got off it after this. This is where the whole thing started for me. 1 month without chairs rewrote how I live in my own body. And here's what I want you to take away from that. The body you want, the one that moves freely, that doesn't ache in the morning, that can get up from the floor without a second thought. The body is not built in the gym. It is built in the way that you live your life, in the positions you choose to rest in the demands you place on yourself in the hours between training sessions. The gym is just 1 hour. Life is 23, and your body is keeping score of all of it. So you do not have to throw out all of your chairs. You don't have to do 30 days like I did. Do one thing. Tonight, when you would normally drop onto the couch, get on the floor instead. Eat a meal down there. Watch one episode from the ground and let yourself squirm and shift and hunt for positions. See how long you actually last before your body begs you to stop. and pay attention to the discomfort in those first 10 minutes, because that's not nothing. That's data for you. That's the exact size of the gap between what your body can do and what it's been allowed to do. The only thing that ever closes that gap is showing up on the floor again and again and again, and the next day after that. That is the whole secret. There isn't a better one I could give you. Anyone selling you a better one is selling you something you don't want. I went looking for what I'd lost on the floor. It was never gone. It was just waiting for me to sit back down. Your body is the same. The ranges, the freedom, the ease you had when you were younger, it is not gone. It is waiting for you to stop sitting in chairs long enough to remember what your body actually is. The floor doesn't care how long you've been away. It's been there the whole time. The only question is whether you sit back down. Start tonight.